Welcome to 1 Million Cups. There's a better place to stand than that. How many of you guys are here for the first time today? Well, welcome. I'm glad you guys came out, and I promise you this is not how it's normally set up. We are having a retro day here at 1 Million Cups. We're using an ancient technology called a projector that is not a smart projector. It's a dumb projector. It is running on a laptop that has something, back in the day, we used to have an operating system called Windows XP. It's running on that. This is going to be an interesting trip through history for you guys. I would like to thank our presenters today for bearing with us as we have these explorations of older technology. My name is Sean Kennedy. I am an organizer here for 1 Million Cups alongside Marianne, Chris, Richard, Betsy, who will be organizers starting very soon, replacing JJ, thank God, right? We have many other organizers floating around in the ether, visiting other communities, and navel-gazing throughout the nation. We appreciate them. MVP today is my coworker Eric, who at the last minute was able to kind of help us rig this up. Thank you, Eric. Please. MVP, as always, is Cow Coffee. Thank them for the delicious coffee. I encourage you to purchase their fine wares. We're not here getting it for free. We do have two great presentations. I was asked to make an emotional plea to you guys today. During the middle portion of this program, Marianne comes up here and does a wonderful job explaining the events going on in the community. There's been some noise in the past and she's had difficulty getting that message out. So if we could give her the deference of our awed silence today, that would be much appreciated. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Chicky, who is right there, to present Solutionz Technologies.
My name is Solutionz Technologies. We are all about helping you travel to where you really need to be. And I want to start by a little audience presentation. One hand up if you have experienced any one of these things in the last 12 months where you spent an overnight somewhere else. Could be close, could be far, doesn't matter. Wedding. Okay, hand up. Now, keep your hand up, please. And if you have more than 3 of these, I want you to stand up. Wedding, funeral, bar mitzvah, baby shower, graduation, concert, sporting event, either as a participant or as a spectator. Business meeting with a prospect. Business meeting with a client. Business meeting with an investor. Family reunion. Class reunion. Military reunion.
Divorce?
Visiting the kids. If you have a junior going to be a senior and you've taken your kid on a trip to a college. Okay, some of you are not holding your hands up. You're supposed to keep them up. You're supposed to stay standing. It doesn't work otherwise. Visited any kind of attraction. Okay, so you just helped me complete my very first focus group, and thank you very much. If you watch what was going on around the room, most everyone has had at least one of those. And I'm surprised more of you didn't have the business meeting piece of this. But you may think that the current travel system actually serves your needs, but just think back for 1 second of whether anybody asked you, online or offline in a travel agency environment, where you were really going. They expected you to do some research ahead of time. Just a tiny bit about my company and me. The Solutionz Technologies division was actually founded in 2013. It has had several different iterations. We started with a product called Hotels by Hospitals, actually back in 2007. Spun off the division of the company and brought it back in 2013. I have run a top travel industry consulting firm for 19 years. I've done 10 startups, 5 of those in the comfort of being an entrepreneur with a paycheck and somebody else's money. You don't have to do that. And then the rest of them I have done either in my consulting life, starting up companies like LasVegas.com and doing some pretty big business with some big things that you would know. Over 90 clients and 200 projects, and why that's important is because that's my network, and it's very broad, and it's really going to help you out what I'm doing now. I literally wrote a book, actually 3 books on travel distribution, so I'm a noted expert on the merit of buyers and sellers. And through all of the innovation that I've helped clients with, as well as what they haven't listened to, I've taken that and gleaned from that experience. I've had, for the investors in the room, I've already had my spectacular failures, so you don't get to word about it. I wrote about it in a collaborative book with some pretty big names called Bootstrap Business, and I've just recently finished another book called My Life is a Game Changer, which is an allegorical novel. Because of our technology challenge, we're going to try to do this on 2 different computers. And we have sound on one, so listen carefully.
Every day around the globe, people travel to client offices, hospitals, events, reunions, and more. Today's travel tools assume that you are going to an airport or city center. So every day around the globe, people travel to client offices, hospitals, events, reunions, and more. Today's travel tools assume that you are going to an airport or city. People travel to client offices, hospitals, events, reunions, and more. Today's travel tools assume that you are going to an airport or city center. So if you run a business, host an event, or are the family member in charge of the reunion, you get a call, and now you play travel agent, getting roped into answering questions about the nearest hotels. You have better things to do, and so do they. With the TripPlanz toolkit, your visitors have an intelligent planning tool that helps them book a place to stay close to you based on your precise location with a 110% rate guarantee. They can plan right from your company's website, blog, or via email, which saves you and your visitors valuable time. Take care of your travelers and give back at the same time. It's easy to install. Get your intelligent widget today. MyTripPlanz.com.
Hopefully, your brain is going to look Okay, so fundamentally, what the company does is we deliver intelligent travel widgets for organizations, venues, events, and also bloggers that save everybody time and also help travelers get exactly where they need to be. So no more planning around an airport when you're driving. 89% of all travel in this country is by car. It is not by air. You would never know that to look at the travel tools that are out there. No need to find the closest major city to get to your desired destination. Again, think back to the wedding, the bar mitzvah, the graduation. You had to figure out what the closest place was. Then you could go and plan your trip. Because they don't ask you where you're going. They don't. And even if you tried, I took my daughter on a visit to colleges. If I typed in Lynn University into Expedia, they have no idea how to respond to that. So we are right now, we are actually live. The product is in production with a company that is providing the technology to funeral homes, 2,400 funeral homes, doing 24,000 funerals a month. And we are targeting hospitals, universities, and events as our pilot locations so that we can get the right metrics of what the travel conversion will be in each of those markets. So again, if you look at the care category, hospitals, prison, nursing home, life tools, campus visits, calendar program, Salesforce automation, contact automation, event travel, again, any kind of event, including community events, and also media companies, bloggers, online newspapers, directory sites like Yellow Pages and Yelp. So the company is self-funded. I put in $120,000 to date into the company to get the minimum viable product live. We launched that MVP in June. Again, 2,300 funeral homes under the Funeral Concierge Services brand. We've got our standalone widget, which is slide, which has hotel, again, specifically to the client's location, all the driving directions, car rental, and air. We are powered by world-class partners. Priceline Partner Network is our partner. As a result, we have a very large commission share with them, much more than a standard travel agency would get. We also have a group system that allows you to book as many rooms and meeting rooms online as you want. A product called Guest Centric that handles inventory that is negotiated. And then a product called Traxo, which aggregates all of your itineraries no matter where you book it into our My TripPlanz product. Very low cost model because our partners bear all the cost of the things that are normally expensive for an e-commerce site, customer service, and then our aggregation model is through partners rather than buying a keywords and buying passes that way. We are coming out with our self-service product this fall. Think add this or share this for travel, so people will be able to download their own widgets. The model is very simple. We're focusing on the largest piece of the pie in the travel industry. 25% of all travel is corporate, 80% is vacation. Everything else is life travel and totally ignored by the travel industry. So we're going after that big slice. We have a B2B approach where we have a toolkit that we can provide to others. We are not going after the consumer direct. The goal is to save everybody time and put the widget where people live, where people actually have the inspiration for travel. Salesforce is the perfect place for our product. Google Calendar, we're implementing in our next iteration. Very lean team, great culture. We want to change the world one trip at a time. We're donating 10% of our revenues to the charity of choice of our client. And we are also planning for innovation. We're building in 10% of our revenues going into an innovation fund, which we would love to work with investors to help pull the right companies together that can outcome what we're doing. Very simple revenue stream. 98% of our revenues are recurring. B2C travel bookings, we make commissions from multiple sources. B2B, we have a subscription fee. But primarily, we believe that our free product will be the one that is used most often. In our B2B product, where we charge, which is our pro product, we do revenue sharing back with our partners. And then we have an enterprise version that can get integrated into other applications.
We can keep it going with questions.
Yes. Yeah. Can you tell us about your key performance indicators?
Now, again, this kind of business is very, very simple. We track on unique visitors, so the aggregation of unique visitors from all of our different types of clients is what gives us the ability to get those higher commission levels with all of our inventory partners. The average daily room rate that is booked is really super important. So if you cater to a higher end client who is going to spend more per day and stay longer, the commission that we share back with you is much larger. And obviously the conversion to a sale is important. In the travel industry, 1% is normal. We are currently experiencing 2% in our second month of operation. And I actually hate to admit that because 1% I think is actually ridiculous for an industry, but I'm not to change that.
Questions?
Yes?
How do people find you?
Well, people find us through the partners that we are integrating with. So the funeral home, if you find out a friend has died or a relative, you go on, we're embedded in the obituary. So you see the service time and it says, do you want to plan your trip to the funeral? And so it's right there at the point of inspiration.
So, I mean, you've hit us with a lot of information about your products, and I'm sure we're going to slice and dice it here like we always do. My big question is, when you boil this down and you distill this to the essence of what your company is, you're basically taking normal travel services and adding geolocation so that people don't have to go do it themselves with Google Maps. Is that essentially what you're getting at?
That's a part of it, yes.
Okay.
And again, people believe that you can do that today, but none of the systems do it today, particularly the base of systems that underpins all of those online systems. They don't accept geolocation.
So the follow-up to that is, it seems like a very logical partnership for you to be a company like Expedia or Travelocity or Priceline. Are you looking to partner with those guys, or are you going to do something outside?
Priceline is our partner. So what we are doing for them, they don't reach out to small companies. The companies that come to them have to be big and have a lot of volume. So when they say no to someone, you're too small, they can send them to me, and I can have them operational 2 hours later. And so they can be driving and booking some Priceline. So Priceline would benefit from that. But these guys, they don't think they have a problem. They think they do it well. They don't care that they make the traveler do all the work before you get on going to the bookings. So the travel industry per se is not our target. Our target is we're going to be embedded in Google Calendar and in Salesforce and in a number of these other platforms.
I love your widget idea. Is it easy to keep it from being copied?
Is it easy for the widget? Well, I mean, it's copyrighted. It is not something that at this juncture in its current form can be patented. Okay. However, our process for creating the add this and share this of travel widgets,
I love the idea.
Yeah, we're seeking a process patent on that.
I have a really weird question, and I still don't know if it's a conflicting business model. Do you know what affiliate programs are?
Yes.
Have you looked at taking this and creating it as an affiliate model?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, with bloggers, that's precisely what we want to do. So imagine somebody writing a blog about a place or an event. We can actually trip enable that blog. And so we will give them a revenue share off of the bookings that come from the inspiration that they've already created with words.
I just see you being, it sounds so funny. I think it's an amazing product, amazing.
Yes.
Well, I just see like over time, and I don't mean like a 6-month period of time, I mean like over a decade, that, you know, with 3 billion websites, it's going to sound funny, but, you know, especially if you have somebody translate it into other languages or use the added feature for a multilingual. That,
we support 40 languages today in the call center. We support virtually any currency, and we detect language from the IP address.
I just think affiliates will make you a lot of money.
I think so too. But we are already, this doesn't have to be a long-term thing. We are already doing revenue sharing with a network of people who are bringing us business. So for instance, we've got someone who's working with Delaware who runs Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. So we're going to be implementing the product on their website and in their ticket confirmations. And they've got over 30% of people who are coming from outside the country. And guess what? They spend more per night and they stay longer. So that's a great, great client for us. And then we share the revenue back with the person who brought it to us. We give them a perpetual revenue stream for as long as the client is live. And that makes it worth their while to make sure that the client's actually using the product in the best way. Yes.
Are you using, or have you considered using native advertising to get the message out? Native advertising is blended advertising into content?
Well, we have designed space for advertising into our product, but we really believe we need to build up to at least 1 million unique visitors before we add revenue as a revenue stream. Because right now the product is integrated into someone else's product. So the funeral homes, for instance, they come to a travel booking site called Funeral Concierge Services. Every line has the name of the funeral home. This hotel is 0.2 miles from this funeral home. And again, no one does that today. You would think that they do. I've been in the industry a long time. I can tell you nobody's doing it.
Are you thinking of making an app, maybe?
We are absolutely going to do an app. We are partnered with a company called Traxo that when somebody books on our system, we will send an email out saying, please come and register. And they can register and they can put in all of their frequent flyer accounts and their logins. We will pull their itineraries from anywhere where they have booked, whether it's with an airline direct, with a hotel direct, with cruise lines, their restaurant reservations from Open Table, and that product we're branding as My TripPlanz. And then in our next iteration, we will be adding a product that allows them to say, here are my places that I go, here are my companies that I visit, here are my events that I go to, and then they can do one click travel booking to that place. So well, it's not far into the future. It's already designed. Yes.
You might also want to consider partnering directly with rental car agencies. And the reason why I say that is because when we go to Priceline and we put in like 33701, which is the zip code, right, then you get airport opportunities for car rentals. I mean, you don't know that there are indeed local places to actually get a rental car.
Right, but this is the difference in our product, is we pass the geolocation of where you're actually going, and that's where it searches for a hotel, That's where it searches for our car, and it finds the closest airport. So again, you're not having to do any of that research work. So we do already sell car rental, but our revenue stream is about 98% hotel. Hotels pay better, and again, remember 89% of all people drive, and most of the time that's their own car. So the air and rental car opportunity is 11% of all travel. Now that's what Expedia and Priceline have made billions on, but I believe the other 89% is worth way more. Yeah, but thanks for the input.
So what's your biggest challenge that you're dealing with right now?
Finding someone to essentially allow me to step out of the chief everything officer role. I need a CTO by my side. I don't have a CTO. I've done all of the design, all of the architecture, managed, outsourced developers because I bootstrapped the company. I need a team. I need a really, really good team. And so it's chicken and egg. We are putting together an investor prospectus. We are not yet raising money, but within 2 weeks, I believe we'll be ready to talk to investors about the product. And I need a CTO, so if anybody has a lead on somebody who wants to walk into an opportunity with equity out of the gate, happy to have them come to me. Yes.
Could you elaborate on your guarantee?
Our guarantee, again, Priceline doesn't offer this. This is our company. I have run sites like the number 2 and 3 Expedia affiliate sites, and we've also run sites on Travelocity before they were subsumed into Expedia. And Travelocity started this. They started with our 110% guarantee, which says if you find the same room, same nights, same room type, same period, cheaper, we'll pay 110% of the difference. We'll just write a check, no questions asked. Because, first of all, people are lazy and they don't do the work to document it. But if they do, we're going to honor it. Because, Priceline is the number 1 travel company in the world. Volume-wise, deep pockets-wise. And, we just trust that they're going to have the best rates. Now, you're going to occasionally find something that's $5 cheaper. Yeah, but does somebody really want 110% of $5? If they do, we'll write them a check. Yes.
A couple of questions. You threw some numbers. I just want to put it in perspective. You said 1%, 1 to 2% is conversion,
Yes.
and you threw $1 million visitors in inflection point. So do you have any numbers on what's the value of a customer and what's the lifetime value?
Absolutely.
And what's the profitability?
Great question. So the average, I'm going to round these rather than give you precise numbers because it's hard when you don't have it on the screen. But roughly, 1.2 to 1.7 room nights is what the average is nationwide. Now, some, if you've got a road race that goes on for 3 days, you're obviously going to have a longer stay. But most are going to be 1.2 to 1.7. And the average daily room rate varies again by city, but somewhere between 125 and 139. And so we're looking at about $25 per transaction as our gross. Now, we share a piece of that with the client. We share, again, to their charity of choice. We are actually doing that contribution to their charity of choice once a quarter. And then we share a small percentage with our network of people who are bringing this business.
So the next question was, do you have, so there's a lot of data involved. You're white labeling it, but who owns the data? Say the funeral homes?
No, we do. We do. We integrate data from Google Analytics and from our booking sources. Priceline provides us really data by the minute.
So do you remarket to the same target audience and increase revenue share per customer?
Well, we believe that will happen through our TripPlanz product when they're sent from any one of these brands. Would you like to sign up and have an account and then benefit from the aggregation?
Talk about the hotels that pop up when somebody's using the product. Is it every hotel that's within a certain range, or is it ones you have partnerships with, or?
It's the hotels that participate in Priceline, Booking.com, and Agoda, primarily.
Okay, so if they're not participating in any of those three, any idea
Correct.
what the percentage of those are versus the universe?
It really depends on the geography. We've had very good luck. The 2,400 funeral homes are in a lot of remote areas, and we haven't had any problems.
I hear you talking about focusing on business to business, and I see a lot of potential still in the customer, or in the just the public using social media and creating their own events and inviting each other.
Absolutely.
So I just worry that you're not focusing on that enough.
Well, no, I think what you're going to see is in our self-service tool, anybody can download a widget for anything they want. You can download a widget for your home. If you're having a party and people are coming over and people are coming from out of town, you can put that in an email, you can put it a link to social media. So we have a B2C strategy, but it's tied into a number of URLs. We own hotels by wineries, hotels by golf courses, travel to the wedding. I mean, we own a number of URLs that we can apply our product to, but we're looking for partners in each of those. I believe that there are companies that would benefit from having that as a part of their deal.
It's a great presentation, and everything you made makes a lot of sense. And just, I'm glad you went over your background and everything you did kind of leading up to it. And I think that one piece maybe to reinforce is that I think some folks, especially under 30, under thinking like, oh, I can go to Google and I can type in airports and this, I can go to hotels.com, I can type in the address. I think the emphasis on the simplicity of, especially, you know, I've been to a wedding recently that wasn't near, was outside of Chicago, and a funeral that was outside of Los Angeles, and especially the, you know, the older demographic doesn't know like 4 different tools. So it's emphasizing, I think, the simplicity of, you know, of being able to put that all together.
Well, again, remember where the widget resides. Go look at my website, Solutionz.com. I've got a contact us page, which has a visit us button, and I've got a visit us page. I want every company in this country to have a visit us page. You know, you should be able to find out how to get to somebody without having to do all of those steps that you described. You know, that's the old way of doing things. It's like, you know, if you were having a 25th wedding anniversary dinner for your wife, right, and you wanted to cook something special, not take her out, you can either go to Publix, hopefully you got a recipe before you left so you have all the ingredients and you can walk up and down the aisles, or you can go to Apron, where you stand at their little counter, they let you taste it, they give you the recipe, and right around the corner is a cooler that has all the ingredients plus the right bottle of wine. We are the Aprons of travel. Okay, we don't make you walk up and down the aisles and make sure you've got a recipe book, right? We do it all because it's integrated in the widget. If you have an event, the event can have its own widget. If you have 10 events that you do, every event page can have its own widget.
So how can the community help you grow this business and become a success?
Great idea. The widget to this community is completely free. As we introduce our new widgets, we've got a new widget coming out that has recommendations of hotels, so you can actually put your recommendations for the places around you. We will upgrade you to that, which is our Pro product free. That will normally be $29.95 a month. And it takes 5 minutes to install. You know, literally, if you know how to cut and paste the YouTube embed code within your website, you can garbage down. You know, 5 minutes from now, your travelers coming to you will be able to look. So if you have a lead for any company that builds websites for other people, that they would like to be able to put this on all their websites, we do a revenue share for our channel partners. And, you know, we'd love to have people give us their ideas.
All the events over here within the next month or so we'll link to in the email. If you're not getting, it's over in the corner there. You can sign up for it, and we'll link you to all of the events as well as a recap of the presenters of this week. But I'm going to give Jake here a couple minutes to tell you about the WAVE Accelerator Program.
Thanks, Mary. How's everybody doing? Good. So I'm part of the WAVE team over in downtown Tampa, and still part of this awesome startup entrepreneurial community here in Tampa Bay. And we, just real quick, we have a 6-month accelerator program where we can help you, if you have a startup company, get from idea phase to getting your first customers, or if you have customers, help you scale that up and grow your business. So if you guys want more details, we have an awesome team of mentors that can help you do that. Just come see me. I'll be hanging out here, and you can get the information from Sean and Marianne. All right, thanks, guys.
Will be linked in the email, so if you have any other questions, see Jake or Sean and I can help you as well. But I will get out of here and make room for Matt with sensorFact. He just moved to St. Pete, so please give them a warm round of applause.
Thanks for coming out. We are sensorFact. I'm the president of sensorFact, Matt Horton. I've got some of our other team here. Everybody wave. If you have any questions afterwards, they can all answer. We all built this. Like I said, we are sensorFact. We are a small team of developers and business leaders that are addressing kind of a big market, and so we're just starting out in our business. We've been building this technology for about 2 years. We incubated in a more established company, and then basically grew it and spun it off, and now we've recently located to St. Petersburg from Fort Lauderdale. We just went into the Morgan Stanley building. We're on the 7th floor. Come by and see us. We'll make you coffee and talk to you. All right, so a little bit about what we're up to. You're going to hear all the buzzwords because that's what we're involved in. We can't help it. And so you're going to hear about the Internet of Things. Our customers basically are buildings, and buildings have been the Internet of Things for the last 20 years. This building, every building around you has sensors in it, and we address those. It's going to be a $15 trillion market by 2025, and we want a piece of that. So we're addressing big data from buildings. Why do we get at it? Well, this building and all the buildings around you are generating data all the time. They're generating temperature sensor data, they're generating occupancy data, they're generating indoor air quality data, all kinds of things. And today, for the most part, it's being generated and destroyed immediately. It's being used for monitoring, it's being used for certain kinds of tweaking and so on, and it's actually generating the comfort that you feel in the control sequences in the systems that run them. But nobody's doing much with the data itself, and we plan to. Through our analytics partners and programs, we're going to be solving some pretty big problems that exist today through energy management. Buildings are the largest users of energy in our country today, so we want to work to save the earth through saving resources and reducing costs. So, a little bit more of this why that we're dealing with here. We specialize in, when you hear about Internet of Things, you're going to hear all kinds of, they sound crazy, but it's pretty cool, where they are already putting sensors in clothing and belts, and you know what that's going for. And it's feeding information. Your smartphone has probably 20 sensors in it today that can be used and is being used to tell people tell other systems where you are, what you're doing, how fast you're traveling, whether or not, if you ever look at Google Maps and wonder, how does it know that there's a slowdown on this road? It's because all the other Android phones are reporting how fast they're going, and if you have 25 of them stuck in one place, they're going to put a red bar on the map. It's those kinds of sensors that are going on that are causing this revolution in today that's called the Internet of Things. Well, buildings have been doing this for 20 years. We've been doing building automation for the last 20 years where we have connected sensors to central systems and enterprise systems where people can monitor what's going to, in effect, change in those buildings. Well, what did I do? There. So the people who needed these systems and this data, it's growing every day. Every day you have workers who need access to the temperature data so they can do tests and balances in a building. You have analytics companies who are coming in saying, we can save you money, and so I need my team of 100 people to gain access to your building control system and get to that data. We need to come in and make a baseline and all of this. So and it's growing every day. The reason people need to get at this data is great, but getting at the data can pose a problem. The data is not very sensitive. It's not like credit card information. It's not like your personal IRS information or anything. It's temperature data. You know, you could argue that certain things like occupancy and where you are that can be sensitive, but for the most part, the data itself is not very sensitive. But the systems are very sensitive. If you can think about a pressurized boiler at the bottom of a high-rise building in the Northeast, would you give just anyone access to the systems that control that building? Or the indoor air quality, or the smoke evacuation systems that are there, that are coded into our high-rises. Would you give anyone access, not even if they were malicious, but if they made a mistake around those? These buildings and the systems were engineered when they were built, and then they were installed, and they're meant to be kept at those engineering programming standards. The entire building is programmed. It's a giant distributed computer system. So the systems are pretty critical, and they're critical for life safety, but the data itself isn't. So you have this dichotomy of people who needed this data that's not very sensitive, but it happens to be commingled with systems that are pretty sensitive. Too many of these systems today, so today, if you have somebody who comes in and says, I can save your building $150,000 a month on energy usage, but I need to get accurate data. The building owner is going to say, this guy can save us $150,000 a month, give him access to whatever he wants. The facility manager just says, okay, and asks the IT department, give this guy access to everything we've got. And now you've got an insecure system. That's happening all over this country, all over the world, actually. So it really is dangerous, but that's why we have developed, one of the reasons why we developed sensorFact, so we can come to the rescue of this. This is how stuff works today. You've got a typical building with all of the control systems and so on that exist in there. Control systems, HVAC, lighting, security, wireless, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you've got somebody down the basement who typically has these screens, and they're monitoring all of these systems, and they can affect change. They can change programming. They can be told, you know, I need the air conditioner on for an extra 2 hours tonight, and they'll go in and plug a couple of buttons in, and it'll keep the AC on. Because it really has control over the entire building. But people need access to that data beyond just the basement. And so what happens is the IT department says, okay, we'll create a VPN. You know, give them username and password, they'll log into our VPN and have access to this building and its data. But because it's a building, it's not a huge corporation, it's a property management firm or a portfolio owner who has 10 buildings, who's not in the business of protecting sensitive systems. They just open it up and let people in. It's fine for this cat who needs to come in and do some test and balance. It's fine for these cats who need to do some, you know, energy management or some decision management. Even this cat, who's not going to do much, but this cat here can cause a problem. Now, who remembers last year when Target got breached and 75 million credit cards were stolen? Who remembers that? You know that that happened. I should cut out. Yeah.
How was Target breached?
Target breach happened because of an HVAC contractor who left his VPN in a compromised position and allowed that. HVAC contractor. So, yes.
How do you address that issue?
We address this issue by, we've created some technology that we call point collector. It lives in the building, it's a data diode. It only lets data come out and nothing can come in. We create a no-go zone for people around the building itself, piping data out to our cloud environment. And then we create a go zone for people to simply and easily share data through sensorFact and integrate into these systems. And you can read all those at your leisure. Any questions? Yes.
What do you compete with?
We compete with, depends on the facet of our business. I've given you one facet, one solution that we solve. But there are companies like Lucid out there who do kiosks and other kinds. They basically communicate with, one of the difficult things to get to this question is communicating with all the various brands, vintages of control systems and buildings. We are doing that first mile data acquisition, which is extremely difficult work. The concept is not difficult. There are other companies who are doing that, like Lucid. They come in and they communicate with a large group of different types of building control systems. Field Server, which creates technology that communicates with those, they're promising to come out with similar type technology. So it really is a gold rush. And each building typically has between 10 and 25,000 points of data in it. And a typical university campus, 37 million points of data. And so if you count that up across the globe, there's a lot of people who pick some shelves out there. So, yes, sir.
So far, what I'm getting is that you collect data.
Yes.
So, what are we doing with this data?
Well, today, we pipe that data. So we have customers across the United States, a lot of retail customers. They have a one phone number call center where if anything goes wrong in the building, they call the call center. And there's a bank of operators. The first line triage of those call centers is, okay, what's the problem? And they go to confirm it. Today, before sensorFact, what they had to do was VPN into that building, find the control system on the network through a bunch of shortcuts, get into the control system, another login, drill their way down to the floor they're on, the space they're on, that kind of thing, just to verify. It took upwards of 5 to 10 minutes to do that work. With sensorFact, they can do it in about 15 seconds. And so we give them, and they can open that up to everyone because it's not sensitive data, and they can easily share it. So, and also, if the person who's doing the work down in the building, you can send them information, a card, a way to share that information with them without giving them a login to anything. So it effectively, that's one thing that we can do with it. Analytics and so on, those are third-party partners that we've got. Okay. Good question. Thank you. Yes?
Hi, what's your business model?
Well, we have, our go-to-market model is kind of a three-phase process. Right now, we're trying to address the issue of security and have security be the impetus for gathering this data. Once we get this data in, and then we can start creating a secure way for them to analyze this data and to utilize it, then the building owners who we advocate for, there's a whole other conversation here about how they traditionally don't get to keep the data they generate. We create a marketplace for this data. So big data through Facebook, Google, Apple, they're all coming out with retail beacons that can go into local establishments. These are integration points for customer, retailer integration points. Environmental systems play a lot into that. The algorithms that retailers use, how cold to keep it, how fast to play the music, how loud to play the music, what type of music to play. All of those things keep you shopping or get you out depending on what they do. Environmental systems play into that, and we hope to be able to feed those kinds of systems. So there's that. And then we're opening up a marketplace for other third-party integration.
So you're paid by the analytic advertising? Or
we get paid, our pricing approach is that because you're the building owner, it's your data, you get to keep it, and we charge a low-cost amount. It's basically $12 a site, $12 a location per month to keep your data live and updated. And you pay a little bit more for added features. And it's your data, so since our contract is with you, however, another company that does service for you might say sensorFact is a better way to do it. It's so good and it's so cheap, I'll pay for you to be on sensorFact if you'll agree to it. And that is what's basically happening now. We have aggregation companies that bring in 2,500 retailers and say, we're going to send you all their data so that we can get at it in a better, secure way. But yet, our contract is with the building, those retailers and their data, and so they get to keep it. So they can fire this other company and then start paying us directly and still keep the baseline of years worth of data. Yes, ma'am.
I so hate to ask such an elementary question, but I just missed it as we went through, or maybe I didn't.
That's okay.
The hardware, the piece of equipment, the little black with the ears, antennas. Is that your hardware or someone else's hardware?
That actually is an Android tablet, and that's a ruggedized Android tablet for particular implementation. Our technology, our data diode, can run on it can run on basically anything. It can run on any kind of tablet, computer, what have you. So we work with wherever it's going to live. We work with their team to install that.
I just have the weirdest idea that another, maybe aspect of your business model could be basically like the placement of those all over Ireland or England or Scotland. And literally it's going to sound weird, but you're selling the hardware And you've obviously lined up a factory to mass produce them, or already is producing them, but you do something unique to make it yours, so that it doesn't look exactly like everybody else's. And then basically have just like a licensing. So you're selling hardware like a licensing product. And the word that keeps jumping out at me is this guy's ADT of the future. Do you know who ADT is?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because that's just what I thought is, like, you know how ADT, they sell a piece of hardware, okay, or a system of hardware. But then basically they've got, licensing, and they're sucking monthly fees out of you. So I don't know if that's the difference between Europe and America, but I still see that model as the way to get you in a lot of doors to basically sell the hardware.
It's a really good point. We're a software company, and we're a cloud software company. We're decidedly not in the hardware business. We do have OEM arrangements with, so we have a revenue share program. If you create a piece of hardware that generates data like this and can send it to us, we will share the revenue that we get paid based on the data you send to us. So we've got arrangements with hardware manufacturers to include our software technology in their hardware. I'd love for ADT to go, we love sensorFact. If you don't compete with us, we will send you all the data that generates out of our building so that we can safely store it.
Do you know who Direct Energy is?
The name sounds
okay, they're basically, I'm going to give you a really short business model. They used to be an energy company, but they moved out of energy. They are now electricity, they're electrical, but they're also security. So they bring security, but it's one of the services that they offer. I could so see them being your new co-owner. And it's not a nice way to say that. They're so big that I don't think
there's a lot of people that like
them in. It's just that they're so large that I don't think you'll be able to pull them in as a small backer, because they got sold and got bought by some huge.
A lot of that's going on today. These mergers and acquisitions in this space are happening every day. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Could you share with us how long you've been in business, any financial data, and are you looking for financial partners?
Well, we've been building the software for about 2 years. We incubated in a company in Davie, Florida. We recently spun off this year. I want to say it was like May. Yeah. And then we moved to St. Pete in June. So it's been a real fast ride for us. We got out of the other business we were in because we were basically competing. Well, not competing. We wanted to sell to customers who were doing things that they were doing, and these customers wouldn't buy from us because the company that owned us was in the same business. So we spun off, and we don't make a ton of money right now, but we're working on it. And so we've got a very aggressive marketing campaign and sales campaign. And yes, I'm willing to talk to anybody about some financial partnership. Yes.
How do you read all this data without even a single person in your company having the ability to send a command to control the system? And I'm sure you can speak to the security of your employees and your system and all that, but as you know, in the news this week, all these Jeeps are being recalled because the entertainment system has a direct link to the control system. So how can you get the data from so many, if you're very successful, you'll have access to data from millions of buildings or millions of systems. Where's your firewall being reached?
So, just to go back to this picture a little bit, that this being a data diode is extremely important. So our technology is going to be available, it's going to be a self-service website as soon as we can finish building out all of that, which will allow small retailers to participate in the Internet of Things. And you'll be able to download point collects for free. It doesn't require a special piece of hardware. You can download it for free, install it on a PC in your office, or install it on a dedicated machine or a tablet or something like that. If it's sitting on the network, if it can see the internet, then that's all it needs. It utilizes SSL technology, it's totally encrypted, and what it does is it's only a client. So all it knows how to do is communicate with the building control system to ask for data, and then it turns around and it asks sensorFact if it can send the data in. It has no ability to answer a request. It has no network surface that you can attach to. There's no ports exposed. All it knows how to do is wake up and be like a web browser and consume a website and then consume our API. And so as long as it's living within the environment and it has no available access to anything else, which it doesn't, and that's completely under the control of the people using it, then it is it's totally secure. Now, we are putting this through its paces, and we have partners and are working closely with them to basically say, if you ever see anything in this that smells like a security threat, tell us, because we'll completely fix it. But the way it was developed, the way we architected it, that was the core of the way we did it. Very small, very few lines of code in that. And it basically communicates with sensorFact and asks sensorFact what to do. So when it calls in, you manage stuff inside sensorFact to tell it, this is the type of system you want it to talk to, this is the way it talks, these are the points you want it to pull, that kind of thing. And then it starts off and it starts doing its job. Does that answer your question?
It answers my question, but it worries me that you take a boiler that traditionally was not attached to the internet. Now you're putting a device on it that, even though it's a secure directly to you, there's been vulnerabilities and SSL vulnerabilities and everything, where if there's a new zero-day vulnerability tomorrow and that device is on the internet, how that would be the question. Well, not today, but I want to be able to dive deeper.
The point cloud software can communicate with the basic head-in system, so wouldn't be that boiler directly. And when it has no way to send a command to the control system. It only knows how to say what does your data look like. And then once it finds out what the data looks like right now, it turns around and it sends it, it pipes it off with sensorFact. So even if you wanted to say, I want to change that boiler's damper to be something else, or the valve, I want to close it so it blows up, there'd be no way to get to that to do it. It effectively doesn't even know how to go back and tell the control system anything. It only knows how to say, most of these control systems have a way, or we introduce a way to put a surface there that says, tell me what your data says, and that's all I want to know, and don't give me anything else. And that's kind of how that works. Yes?
Change the subject. There's a backstory here that somehow you convinced your co-conspirators to give up their lives on the east coast of Florida and come here. Yeah. I mean, how did you do that? I mean, there's got to be something I'm not hearing, that you got people to move houses, sell, and relocate.
I broke up with a girl. I couldn't be in the same town with her. There are two folks here who already live here.
So part of the team was already here.
All right. Rena and Randy Hafer, they were already here. And I kind of lived here when I was younger, back in 75 to 80. And I always liked it over here. So I gave up the East Coast, came over here. It's much better, don't you agree?
I was hard selling, but no.
All right, so it wasn't really like relocating the whole group from...
Well, we've relocated one from St. Louis, right? And another one from over there where we are. So we do have diverse or distributed developers. So there's some still over there.
For the last 2 years, I commuted to Fort Lauderdale to help them build this. And so that's, I just got the whole information.
Is there anything about being here, other than they were here, that's going to help make you particularly successful?
Yes, the talent pool. In the east coast of Florida, there is a very, very thin talent pool for the type of development work that we do. We're on the cutting edge, basically, of some of the technology that we're using. We build using, we're using MongoDB and Hadoop, and we're using Node.js for most of our I/O, servers and so on like that. And our front end systems are all Angular, HTML5, and so that talent pool is non-existent in the East Coast. I mean, they're there, but for the most part, you can't just put out an ad and get 25 resumes. You're getting things from all over the country. Here, with with the attraction of what this town is right now, and with the Iron Yard and various other, and the university, we're finding that there are a lot more people who are using the technology that we're using. That's a good message. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So if I'm understanding this right, that controller is tied into your energy management system. The energy management system disconnects from the internet because you're going through there. And you're collecting the data and you're keeping it in a secure location, and then you have secure methods for people to have access to it. But the other piece of it is the data management. And are you also looking at like trend logs and commissioning, et cetera, of systems on the energy management side?
Okay, so clearly you understand, and you probably have some experience in this industry. So I'll tell you that we don't replace anything except your trending capabilities. So if for the most part we are an off-site live value and trending service, and so we sit next to everything else you already do, and you can turn off the trending that you're having if you have special systems that are doing nothing but trending, or you're filling up disks like I know some people do. Then you can turn all that off, and we basically get all of your live point values, and we keep them every 60 seconds, and we send them in a time series database. So we're trending everything all the time. We don't replace any other systems. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I hate to say we, but I think what you're doing has a lot of potential, but we were heavily involved with Siemens, Honeywell, ABB on the distributed management systems, and they were all working towards something similar to this.
Yeah, they are.
And they've got tons of money to pump behind it. However, some of the things that I heard you say, if I heard you correctly, I don't believe they were addressing it. And so I think if you pick the right direction, which I don't know. So. I don't know how much you know about that industry, the sensors, the management of sensors, the information from sensors, those relationships.
I personally spent the last 15 years in the building automation industry. Was instrumental in a lot of the protocol convergences that were going on in the last 15 years. Prior to that, was .com startups basically all my career. So Siemens, Honeywell, Schneider Electric, they all are ecosystems. And so if you are building out a new building and you choose Siemens, and everything in there is a Siemens product, then use the Siemens cloud, and you'll be able to do so much more than sensorFact. But if the data you want to have from one building that happens to be Siemens, and another building that happens to be Honeywell, and another building that happens to be Schneider Electric, those are all ecosystems, and you ask any of them, and they'll go, oh yeah, we'll pull in data from the others, because they want you to only stay with them. And so my goal for sensorFact is, listen, you guys can control all the equipment, you can control all the systems, all the sequences of operation, that's your gig. What I want to do is I want them to be able to have their data, and want them to be able to fire you if they want to, and still have all of their data. When somebody comes in and say, I can save you so much money in your building, they come in and they say, okay, we need to connect to your systems, we need access to all of this stuff, we need to put in the equipment, set a baseline, and you're into it for $20,000 in 6 months before you ever get a quote from them. With sensorFact, if your data is already there, they can come in and give you a quote same day.
Okay. So unfortunately, I have one more question. Okay. What can we as a community do to help you move your company forward?
Well, if you know facility managers, people who own buildings, portfolios of buildings, if you own a building, talk to us or say our name. And you'll see stuff from us, and we're going to launch a self-service portion of sensorFact for smaller communities, for smaller homeowners and building owners. And we're going to increase the number of technologies we communicate with down to the maker level. So you're going to see Internet of Things coming out of all kinds of crevices of this country, and we're going to communicate with all of them and open up to IF and Xavier and all of the ubiquitous integration services. When we do that, then everybody sign up. It's free for one site. So that's anybody else have questions?
I'm Richard Wood, and I'm the, I don't even have my 1 million cup shirt on. Sean was mumbling about some of the organizers that are kind of here. I'm one of those, okay? But first of all, it's incredibly exciting to see the number of people here, and the new folks. Usually it's about 20%, which is terrific. I was trying to calculate, I think this is our 22nd month of being in operation, October, you know, way back. So this is a 22-month-old concept here in St. Petersburg. Obviously a couple things fundamentally. One is if you're interested in presenting, please go online, see any of the organizers, get on board, you know, sign up, etc. Secondly, if you know some people that you think would be good to attend or come back in or whatever, I mean, let's just keep crowding and going. Third is, heard a lot of chatter out there before about angel investing and things, so, you know, get talking about that. How can we get more of that in St. Petersburg? And just last thought, that when I'm not here, I'm in Kansas City at the mothership of, I don't work there, but I'm at Kaufman that started this deal, okay? There's 72 cities now doing this exact thing, same time, depending on the time zone, all over the United States. And the point is that we're doing just an incredible job here. I mean, the energy and the vitality of the thing, and I've mentioned this before, but they're kind of going into fruition. If you look a little at the future, what they're doing is testing up there, broadening this into some nonprofits, so they've targeted education. So if you know of teachers, be thinking about how do you innovate and become an entrepreneur to change public education or education. So they have the thing called Lean Labs, and they're partnering with Sprint and Kaufman to do this Lean Labs for education. And secondly, about a month ago, they just started the art focus, and they've been talking about this for about a year. It's called Gildit, gildit.org. And so, you know, artists are getting involved in another way. So this is a very big movement of entrepreneurship, and then going into education and arts and other things. But thank you all very much for your energy and